some more doodles. I'm not going to go into that. But here this is a page of me just going into why and what. Uh, yeah, so me changing my mind and going into doing the idea of just doing a timeline-esque theme. All right, so I'm just going to elaborate on what I'm on about right now. So for the exhibition, I had replanned. So the animation was an expansion on ordinary life, I guess. The animation idea, and then here I've changed to more firmly on the dimension idea, I guess. Well, no, I'm not. I guess yeah, that is the case. So in terms of the multiverse, linking two dimension to multiversal universe. So this is an alternate universe in what could happen in the future in an alternate universe on Earth, and the timeline is representing that or those certain events within the same timeline. So it's a timeline and it's in order from the closest to our time to the furthest from our time. And then here I'm talking about the backgrounds or the settings I used for how large the image is. So I went for 2560 times 40 pixels or 1450 40 pixels. I've completely fumbled that, but it doesn't matter. And artists I looked at, there's two main ones. Rodney Matthews, I think he's the main one. This He's a sort of a childhood artist I looked at. I used to look at when I was a child. Does that make sense? No. I had a book from him called In Search of Forever, and he was very inspirational for my own work when I was younger. We'll go with that. That makes more sense. So this piece I have here is Rodney Matthews' Elric or his version of Elric and Moonglum, which Elric and Moonglum Elric is a character from this other series of books, which I'm not going to go into because I'm not really, I don't know enough about it to say anything on the matter. But here he's fighting this sort of serpent demon creature. So it was something I thought I might re or do a version of. Then here is a concert of some alien people. I thought that could happen in the future, some concerts of aliens. And then this sort of UFO invasion of this Stone Age man. So some inspirational. I don't find the title of this. And then I looked at Roger Dean. So he worked on Avatar, the the movie that came out in 2009. I just love the colors he uses mostly. So here, Pathways at Night. Uh, I think the colors in this really had this sort of retro wave kind of feel to it, and I wanted to redo that. There's also this sort of sunset kind of colors of the orange and the blues he uses. I really like, and the landscapes as well are something else that I thought I might try and redo. And then I also looked at this painting of Simon Bolivar by Arturo Michelina, who existed during the time that. Oh no, he didn't. Sorry, my mistake. No, he existed after. It was like a century after the time of Simon Bolivar. Or not a century, 50 years, 30 years after the time. So he's sort of recreating and this sort of idealized version of this guy. This guy, Simon Bolivar, who he is, he created Gran Colombia, or he liberated um, Gran Colombia from the Spanish Empire. And what Gran Colombia was, is, or what it is now in modern days, is the countries of Colombia, Venezuela, I believe Ecuador and Panama. I don't think Peru was in it, but he did also. Um, he was also the king or emperor or president of Peru and Bolivia. And Bolivia actually got their name from Simon Bolivar. So there's some fun facts for you there. But why I did him was I wanted to have this historical figure in mind, this fictional historical figure in the future, this alternate future, um, who would have this similar kind of prestige that Simon Bolivar has, who managed to unite or conquer or liberate some country in this fictional future. So that's why I have this here as well. So down here, oh yeah, no, I'll talk about this. This is a little extra something. So I also have a color. I thought how I'd order them or how many I would do. I would base off these two color systems, RGB and CMYK. So RGB is the system used for light colors or colors coming out of your computer screen, which or the colors you see with your own eyes. It's these mostly reds, greens, and blues. Those are the main ones. And then to create other colors, it sort of combines these two colors. So green and blue, for example, make a cyan, which is a sort of light blue color. Red and green make yellow. Red and blue make magenta. Or magenta, I don't know how to pronounce that. I think people pronounce that differently. CMYK, on the other hand, are the colors used to print things. So it's sort of the reverse of RGB. So CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, and yellow, and black. Although I crossed that out because I wanted to concentrate on colors, not tones. And that concluded with me deciding to create 6 pieces. And then here I'm just fiddling about what order I do it in. So piece number 1, I do it in magenta, and it was this landscape I took in Iceland. It was this sort of cooled down lava field. That's it. It's a cooled down lava field, and in the distance you see some mountains or volcanoes. I'm not really sure what they are. They're just hills, I guess you could call them. This was in Nimes, France. This was above in the arena in Nimes, and there was this sort of church and some other building and structures that I thought I could turn into something else. And number 3, so it's just this lovely little green landscape going here. Not much to talk about that. Oh, it was taken in the south of France again. This is in Iceland. This was where the fault lines, where the Eurasian plate meets with the North American plate. So just this valley where this was. That's number 4, and I thought it was a nice picture. You had this person, and I could sort of change this up a bit. And then here, this was in Nimes again, and I just like the way the perspective of this narrow corridor. I could change to something else. I keep saying that. And then here, the rooftops in Perpignan, also in the south of France. These are mostly South France, Iceland locations. And at first I thought I'd do the order magenta, yellow, green, red, blue, and cyan. However, I think in the end I changed it so that I switched the places of blue and cyan, as well as red and green. I switched those places up so I could match the colours of a sunset or the sunrise and then the sunset. That was my idea, just to add another depth to it. Okay, I'll show you my final bits of work. So at the top here we have Life. It's an ironic title. It's the end of life. This is an alternate future that I've created. In about 1 million years' time, I made up the story that the dwarf planet Eris, which is located in the Kuiper belt, gets somehow pushed by an unknown force, and it ends up on Earth, creating, well, this is the dwarf planet Eris, just it's like much bigger than the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs off, and it's just the light coming out, and this is the light, perhaps the final photograph of some photographer capturing this event that's occurring. I'll just stop here and I'll carry on talking about this.